Let's talk Tanya for the 23rd of Kislev. In yesterday's Tanya, we started the conversation about the tzaddik versus the benign. And we explained that tzaddik, translated as the righteous person, is the person who is righteous not only in their behavior, but also internally. And obviously, we'll talk more about that as the chapters proceed. As opposed to the benign, the intermediate is someone who is perfect in their behavior. But on the inside, they struggle. They still have their yetzer hara. They still have their evil inclination. So with this, the Alter Rebbe makes a very big shift, because the way that it was taught until the times of the Alter Rebbe, until the publication of the Tanya, was that tzaddik, benign, and rasha, the righteous, the wicked, intermediate, these are all descriptions of behavior. So how many mitzvahs do you do? How many sins do you do? And depending on your behavior, you're either a tzaddik, or you're a rasha, or you're a benign. But now we understand that the tzaddik and the benign actually, in terms of behavior, are the same. So that creates a shift, and suddenly we understand that we're not talking here about behavior, but we're talking about internal states. And as it turns out, the tzaddik, the benign, and the rasha, all three are actually descriptions of internal states. And therefore, the book of the benign, which teaches us how to be the benign, it's not teaching us how to behave in a certain way, but it's teaching us how to attain a certain internal state, which that actually expresses itself in behavior. As we know, that our internal state causes us to behave in certain ways. A tzaddik has a certain internal state which causes him or her to behave in a certain way, and the same is true with benign and with rasha. So there's a lot of internal work that has to happen over here. And before we even get to the internal work, we need to have self-awareness, self-understanding. What is going on inside of us? What internal state are we trying to achieve? And that's what's going to be taking us through the next few chapters of Tanya. And the first thing the Alter Rebbe tells us in terms of a better and more accurate understanding of ourselves is that as Jewish people, we have not one soul, but two. Not one identity, but we have two different identities or two different consciousnesses. And in today's Tanya, the Alter Rebbe introduces us to the first one, what's known as the animal soul. The animal soul, not to be confused with the soul of an animal. It's not the soul of an animal. It is a distinctly human soul, because it is possessed by a human being, but it shares similarities with an animal in that it is self-centered. This animal soul derives from the forces of klipa. Klipa is the Kabbalistic term for the forces of unholiness, and it looks for anything that will make it happy. It's looking for self-preservation, it's looking for gratification, it's looking for pleasure. It could look also for meaning and purpose in life. Sometimes it finds that it feels good to do something which is wrong. Sometimes it finds that it feels good to do something which is good, such as to help another person or to give charity. Because, and here's a very important point, the animal soul isn't bad. It's just self-centered. And sometimes self-centered people do good things also. That is the first identity. In tomorrow's Tanya, the Alter Rebbe is going to introduce us to the second identity, the second soul.